Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brant, attempt number dos. A couple things I want to get to really fast before we get into the playthrough. Tonight on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Davvon, a link in the description below, we will be having the Alpha Nerd Game Show, which we do every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. What it is it's a game show between 4 contestants, usually one of them is a special guest every show, centered around a certain topic of nerdism. Tonight will be retro gaming. What I will do is I will have 18 items, and each item will have 6 clues, starting very vague and getting easier. I will ask the contestants the clues, or give the contestants the clues. They have to ring in when they think they know what the item is and guess the item, and they'll get the corresponding points based on when they ring in. The chat has a lot of fun playing along with us as well. It's just a blast. It's a lot of fun. So if anybody's interested in checking that out, it's again tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time. The other thing I want to mention is that on Saturday, we will be doing our community event, which we do through the Discord. We'll be playing Among Us live on YouTube. If anybody has interest in playing Among Us in the future or taking part in these community events or just wants to talk with me or those around me, feel free to join the Discord below. That, again, will be around 7 p.m. Central Time on Saturday. Whew. Now, without further delay, let's play. A moment of respite. Your workday for the day is finally done. You hurry home to the family where peace and tranquility dwell again at last. Still, you have grown used to the idea that this peace could be disturbed at any moment. As you enter, Father walks down the stairs to greet you. He smiles happily and warmly. Robert Brant, Davvon Jr., my dear son, you're spending so much time at work. Look, you can barely stand. You need some rest. Please, stay at home with us for a while. Surely your work can wait. You've earned yourself a moment of respite. You consider his words for a moment and agree. Overjoyed, Father takes your hand and leads you into the sitting room. You spend several days resting in the family home, where your troubles are distant and your family is close. They tell you their news. You carefully share yours. You spend the evening together on the porch, just like in the old days, listening to Father's stories of your family's history, sharing laughter over memories of childhood. It is late now. Cicadas buzz quietly in the garden. The windows of the bedrooms glow with a warm light. You recline in a wicker chair with a glass of good wine. There is no place like home. Yay, +1 relations with everybody in our family. Nathan is not a fan of ours too much. And willpower. I think we have max willpower now. We are prepared for anything. The power of the law. You have just completed your first year of service at the prefecture. Several days after your second year begins, there is a knock on the door. You look up from your paperwork and tell the visitor to come in. Sir L. Bourne's secretary slips inside quietly. The prefect has an important matter to discuss with you in his office. Augustine L. Bourne looks weary and aged, but he greets you with his usual characteristic warmth. I'm sorry. You take a seat in the comfortable chair across from him. Sir L. Bourne asks his secretary to pour him and you some wine. Guys, again, I've been recording for like the last 2.5 hours now, reading out loud. I do greatly apologize if I slip over words or if I fumble a little bit or if I talk too fast. We're coming towards the end here. My throat's starting to revolt against me is the best way to put it. Augustine L. Bourne. Sir Brante, good to see you. I hope the judge's trade is coming easily to you now. I must admit, I've been watching your first cases closely. You've already had to resolve a rather difficult land dispute between a commoner and a noble. We will see even more litigation of this kind in our province in the future. Now it's time for you to answer an important question. In this great dispute between the two estates, where will you stand as a judge? Take a look around you. Life in the Empire as we know it is changing. It is our duty as nobles and judges to make peace between all the estates on the basis of the law. However, the prefecture faces a great hindrance in its pursuit of this goal. Many nobles are still determined to abide only by the traditions of old, especially the Octavians. For those nobles, the only law above them is the court of honor, where noble ranks and duels decide everything. They reject the jurisdiction of the prefecture and outright defy the newer laws and regulations of the empire. This is to say nothing of what happens when an Octavian has a dispute with a human commoner. Some Octavians would rather cut a human down then and there than waste time on what they see as a pointless litigation. Even though the law says that all the Emperor's subjects have the right to a fair and just trial. One of the most flagrant violators of the law is Dorius Auten, the commander of our province's military. You've encountered him before, haven't you? That Arcanian nobleman is a notorious duelist. Anyone who crosses his path risks insulting his honor. His sword has ended the lives of many human nobles, not to mention all the commoners who have been unlucky enough to run afoul of him when he was bored. Surely you realize, Brent, that we are the only ones who can protect those people. The lowborn lot forbids a commoner to arm himself. Even those who would rather defy their lot have no chance against Dorius Auten, one of the most skilled Arcanian sword masters. Auten cannot be allowed to commit murder with impunity. We have to stop him, and all others who act as he does. Imperial law must prevail over their barbarous traditions. But, as of now, I have no authority to put Auten on trial. Our province still abides by the old traditions, and humans are powerless against the dynastic power of the Arcanian aristocracy. Putting an Arcanian on trial for his crimes would be unthinkable at best. We have to work gradually to change this, Brent. I need you as an ally. What we have to do is strengthen the power of Imperial law in Magra so that eventually everyone will respect the law, from humble beggars to highborn Arcanians. We must show everyone that the law is not a noble instrument of oppression against the common folk. Like the divine law, Imperial law must stand above all, with no regard for birth, rank, or title. This is why I have decided to address you today, Davvon Brante. Side with the law, side with your father and myself, side with justice in every case always, no matter who stands trial before you, be they a lowly commoner or noble elite. With enough precedence, we will put an end to highborn tyranny and ensure that the law is respected throughout the province. But I must warn you, even here at the prefecture, I am not all-powerful. Many judges oppose my point of view, not openly, at least not yet, but I am certain they will work against us in the shadows. Now, Brante, what is your answer? Are you ready to side with me and change our province for the better? Are you prepared to support me against the high-handed gentry and defend the common folk from the likes of Dorius Auten? I mean, I did say the end game is I wanted to get rid of Dorius Auten. That's my #1 goal in this second playthrough. You nod energetically, determined to support Elborn and bring nobles and Arcanians under the rule of Imperial law. You realize the risks, but for the future of the Empire and its subjects, you are willing to face them. You seal the promise with a handshake. The prefect leans back in his big chair and points at the glasses full of wine. Augustine Elborn, I never doubted you, Brante. With your potential and youthful zeal, nothing will stop us. And now, a toast to the triumph of law in Magra. Your glasses clink melodically. The prefect takes a sip, then puts the glass down to instruct you further. Augustine Elborn, remember to be cautious. Between the powerful nobles and many other judges at the prefecture, there will be no shortage of enemies on this path. There will be times when I'll be too unable to help you. My own position is too unstable as it is, so please do not draw too much of their ire. Letting their wrath reach you is the last thing that I want. Last but not least, we mustn't be hasty. If we move too fast and enforce the law against the nobles too soon, they might take up their swords as they have before. We have to prevent an uprising and avert bloodshed. At all times, be just, but also wise and alert. Glad to see you on the side of justice. I'm counting on you, and you can count on me in return, Davvon Jr. Brante. May luck be with you in service to the Empire. You return to your office, your desk covered with endless paperwork, as always. At first glance, nothing has changed, but now you realize the great and important cause working quietly behind your daily grind. Deep in thought, you sit at the desk once again. What fate awaits you in service to this cause? The promise. Ba-ba-ba-bum. A promise to Elborn. You gave Elborn a promise to support him in his fight against the tyranny of the nobility. Flippy pagey. An old friend. Night is falling over Anazat. The stifling heat gives way to an eagerly anticipated freshness. After a day at work, you stroll home at a leisurely pace. You turn down a side street that you have known since you were a little boy. It is as if your legs are acting of their own accord, bringing you to the place of your childhood play, the remnants of the wooden fort. So much has changed since the days when you used to play here with your little friends. Engrossed in your memories, at first you fail to notice that you are not alone here. A tall figure in the uniform of a Legion officer approaches you. You see unruly brown hair and a twinkle in his eye. It is Tomas Guerrero. Now that's a surprise. Hi, Brant. Fancy running into you the moment I'm back in town? Your childhood friend puts his arms around you. Tomas Guerrero. Our battalion got transferred here recently. We're under the command of the Magra Legion now. I'm keeping the peace and maintaining order in my very own province. Well, why don't we catch up? Let me buy you dinner. We'll have a little chat. Remember the old days. Tomas cuts himself short. You suddenly notice how much older he looks. His face has become sharper and rougher, and his eyes are filled with exhaustion rather than a usual mischievous sparkle. Tomas Guerrero. I should warn you though, Davvon Jr., I ain't the best company nowadays. I've managed to get myself some powerful enemies already. I'm a friend who could taint your good name, so if you'd rather not be seen with me, well, I understand. The smile on his face starts to fade. You know, we're gonna have some dinner with Tomas. I think this is gonna ruin my reputation. You give Tomas your hand. You shake it firmly. Tomas Guerrero. So you haven't forgotten your old friend Brante. That's the way it ought to be. Well, come on then. You go to a tavern, reminiscing about your childhood antics on these very streets along the way. You choose a table on the far corner of the tavern. Tomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You talk about your latest case, about your first years back in Anazat. You share family news, your quest to become nobles of the sword, the quarrels between your elder brother and sister, your mother's health. Tomas nods with concern. Tomas Guerrero. Sounds like you've had some tough times. Your family has always been different. Mine, on the other hand, is the same as it ever was. My pa is always in his workshop. My ma's always doing chores. But look at me. I came home a service-class nobleman, although it doesn't bring me much joy anymore. Tomas suddenly grim. You ask your old friend to share his troubles with you. He quickly glances around the room and lowers his voice. Tomas Guerrero. Well, I'm a captain in the Magran Legion now. And who's our commander? His Excellency Doris Otten. That's right, I serve under the very same Archnean whose toes I stepped on back in Eterna. And you better believe he remembers me. I'm afraid things are gonna end real bad. But hey, I'll figure it out somehow. Don't trouble yourself over it. Apart from that, well, it's the usual service. We impose order in uppity towns and villages, protect the province, that sort of thing. And we run drills all day long, obviously. If only you knew how sick I am of them barracks. Wait, what? If only you knew how sick of I am of the barracks, Davvon. Okay, hold on a second. This is the sentence is written wrong. I apologize. Let me start over. If only you knew how sick I am of those at the barracks, Davvon. I've thought about starting a family. My mom keeps telling me to find a nice girl to marry. She says it's time I got hitched. It is completely dark, and you are still talking. Finally, Tomas remembers that his parents are waiting for him. You get up from the table, leaving some dirty dishes and quite a few empty bottles behind. On your way out, you catch a glimpse of a nondescript figure following you to the door. As you walk alongside Tomas through your home neighborhood, you keep glancing over your shoulder, but the shadow that was following you has disappeared. You reach your street and stop for a while in the semi-darkness between your family homes, just as you used to all those years ago. Tomas Guerrero. Hi, Brent. I hardly ever come to Anazat these days. Our battalion is always on the march, all over the province. But twins willing will see each other again, real soon. You advise your friend to safeguard his very life. Oh, we're disgraced. We're disgraced. The newspaper case. Your first year at the prefecture has come to an end. You are not a young student anymore. You know now that a judge's trade means so much more than knowing the law and carrying it out. Resolving a litigation of any importance requires striking a balance between the code of law, high society's opinion, and the whims of the provincial powers that be. Your second year is beginning, and it feels much tougher already. Trampled by the nobles, the commodores seek help, and so they turn to the law. They turn to you. I need to see what my disgracer does for my possible endgames. Occupation? No. Relations, destiny. I believe this is it. Knight of the Serpents. Family falls apart. Auten is sentenced. Protector of the people. Evidence. Okay, so we can still do this. I just need justice at 8 or 9, and I cannot betray Augustine Elborn. Then broken chains, justice at 10. We need justice at 10. Family outcomes, ennobled by the sword. Reputation needs to be higher than 8. That's not going to happen. Heir of the family, ennobled by the sword, which will, again, not happen. Favored by the overseer, not going to happen. Family falls apart. How? I'm confused now, because family outcomes, I think the only way we do what we need to do is the family falls apart. I think the family is going to fall apart. Family in ruins. Wealth is 0. Family at peace. Mother recovers. I'm just trying to figure out. Got to protect the common folk. Join the Lautari ritual. Court of the Honor band. Evidence against Auten. We have to gather evidence. Okay, so I don't know. The family outcomes say that ennobled by the sword, which we won't have the reputation or wealth. Heir of the family means we have to be ennobled by the sword, which is not going to happen. Favored by the overseer, which is also not going to happen because of reputation. The family falls apart. It seems to be the only outcome. But the conditions say unity less twos. Does that mean we're not going to have a family outcome? And then Auten is sentenced. So we need justice. Is there an occupation? Protector of the people, patronage, court of the honor, band, evidence against Auten. I feel like I can't lose my... Okay, we're going to try it. We're going to see what's going to happen. Justice against Auten is our #1 goal, and protector of the people is #2. Your first year at the prefecture is coming to an end. We've already read this. Onward. A carriage takes you through the silver district of Anazot. It is early morning, and you have just received a letter bearing the seal of the city hall. Remy Elverman, the magistrate of Magra himself, wishes to see you at once. The mere sight of the magistrate's invitation is enough to make you scowl. This is no doubt about your newest case regarding the Quorum Gazette, which may spell trouble for everyone involved. A provincial legislature, the lesser quorum governs the volume and distribution of taxes in Magra. After a new law created by the Emperor's own brother Cornelius Tempest several years ago, commoners of considerable wealth were granted representation in the quorum on par with the nobility, thus forming the lesser quorum. Now the representatives of the lowly estate have founded a newspaper of their own, this Quorum Gazette, distributed all across Anazot, fervently argues for commoners' rights in provincial governance. The man behind the newspaper is Mayor Egmont, a well-off industrialist and owner of several silver mines. And it was his article and his demands that brought about this litigation. You take out a newspaper and read Egmont's article printed within. It addresses Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest directly. Mayor Egmont, we demand that Sir Overseer Gaius Tempest cease his habitual disregard for our meetings. From our Emperor Uther II, we received the lawful right to assemble and sit in on the lesser quorum. And we say to the Overseer, our voice must be heard. Our message must be accepted. The carriage stops in a square by a luxurious building. This is the city hall where imperial officials manage all domestic and economic matters of Anazot. You are escorted up a long, winding staircase to the door of the magistrate's office. You now stand before Remy Elverman. The magistrate maintains a haughty bearing in spite of his venerable age. His face bears the sharp, proud features so common among the old aristocracy. Remy Elverman. Ah yes, Sir Judge, you are from the Brante family, I believe. I appreciate your prompt arrival. I'd rather not waste your time and get right down to business. The matter for which I called you here is urgent indeed. You are judging a case against the newspaper by the lesser quorum, are you not? I've had a torrent of complaints against it from the most venerable members of the quorum. They say Mayor Egmont has insulted Gaius Tempest, our overseer, and an archdeacon from the Emperor's own great dynasty. And I say they're absolutely right. The Empire gave those uppity commoners a hand in managing the province's very well-being, which is already a violation of their lowly lot. But no, that wasn't enough for them, it seems. You've earned the mantle only recently, Sir Brante, but you must realize that this is an affront to the honor of the entire nobility. I expect you to do your duty as a judge and immediately find a pretext for shutting down their pathetic gazette. Elborn, your prefect, might think otherwise. However, Sir Brant, if you exercise enough wisdom and cunning, I'm certain you will realize which position is most beneficial to you. With your youth and potential, it'll do you good to have powerful friends on your side. I'm sure you will reach the only appropriate and just verdict when closing this case, and I hope you'll be duly judicious. For now, farewell. You return to the prefecture, lost in thought. Sir Elverman is right. Your word is all it will take to shut down the Lesser Quorum newspaper. As a judge and a nobleman, you do not even need a reason. The people running the Gazette are mere commoners, no matter how wealthy they might be. There was no breach of law, however. Mayor Egmont's article simply requested that the overseer of Magra hear what the Lesser Quorum has to say. You can reject the nobility's complaints and thus show the commoners they may rely on the prefecture's justice, but Sir Elverman and many fellow judges will be outraged. Father learns that the case has been assigned to you. He visits you and offers some advice. Robert Brant, you're in quite a predicament now, son. If you try to appease one party, the other will be furious. Wouldn't you rather see if there's any way to make peace between them? We could host a party at our estate, invite both Mayor Egmont and the noble elders from the quorum. If you are successful at diffusing their quarrel, no one would object if you decide to legitimize the Quorum Gazette. Even Elverman won't be against it if the nobles stop complaining. However, Father is not your only visitor of note that day. Shortly after the door closes behind him, the familiar face of Judge Carlo Fuckagraben appears in your office. He looks around cautiously before speaking his mind. Carlo Fuckagraben. I hear you've been ordered to deal with that newspaper run by wealthy commoners. It's a complicated case indeed. If you ask me, work like that deserves to be rewarded. Why not make the most of it? You're quite close with Prefect Elborn, are you not? Almost related, as it were. What if you were to shut down the paper and seize the printing press? All it would take is Sir Prefect's signature. And my friends among the Quorum nobles, why, they could use a gazette of their own. I would be delighted to help you put that printing press in good hands. Just think of it. You would shut down a subversive periodical and help our esteemed nobles spread their message, all while earning a lucrative reward for your efforts. It's quite a coup, really. Everyone wins. Do you think on it, Brant? He leaves, and you are left alone in your office to deliberate. If you decide to shut down the Gazette, how far should you go? And if you choose to legitimize the periodical, how will you go about it? Scheming is less than 7. Legitimize the Gazette. Oh, those diplomacy points, dude. Okay. Remember what I said, guys. We are going to try and reach justice level 10. We will shut down the Gazette. We will not shut... I'm sorry, I almost clicked the wrong one. We will not shut down the Gazette. Do not shut down the Gazette. I think this might be our family in dishonor, by the way. You peer over the papers as you write your verdict. The Lesser Quorum's newspaper has not violated any imperial law. You therefore have no choice but to reject the nobles' complaints as unfounded. The newspaper's owner, Mayor Egmont, soon hears of your verdict and comes to the prefecture in person. He looks almost like a nobleman. Egmont is well-groomed and wears expensive clothing only a wealthy industrialist could afford. Nevertheless, his rough manner of speaking and boorish posture betray his humble origins. He bows to you ceremoniously. Mayor Egmont, Your Honor, you have my gratitude for your righteous judgment. I don't know if the nobles are going to stop complaining after this, but now we know the prefecture is ready to protect the common estate. You warn Egmont against any further careless statements in the newspaper. The next judge may not rule in their favor. Mayor Egmont, but Your Honor, we write what we think and follow imperial law to the letter. You receive a note from Magistrate Remy L. Vermin the day after. Remy L. Vermin. Brant, your verdict is an outrage and an affront to the nobility of Magra. This continued waste of paper on low-born libel is simply unacceptable. I am very disappointed. Wasting your potential protecting thankless rabble-rousers is no way to advance your career. The Gazette remains in publication until the prefecture orders another judge to investigate it after being inundated with complaints from the nobles. The new judge wastes no time banning the newspaper and fining Egmont for insolence against the nobility. You could have done this to begin with, but you did not. Anazot High Society does not forget this. We're still a judge. Huh! And we got justice at level 7. We're almost there. Commoners are protected. When is our family going to... The call of the ancestors. Let me take a quick sippy sip real quick. I feel better now. Today is a big day for the Brante family, the day your family line started, and the day when you remember all your ancestors. Tonight, everyone who bears the name Brante must ascend into the family crypt to keep vigil by the tombs. This is the time to surrender yourself to your ancestors and hear their will. The entire family prepares for the event in silence. Stefan has been choosing his apparel since morning, praying anxiously under his breath all the while. The heir has a special place in the family vigil. Even Mother is planning to go with you, though Father tries to talk her out of it. Robert Brante. Lydia, I beg of you to stay home. You are far too weak for the all-night vigil in the crypt. Gloria, would you be so kind as to stay with your mother since you cannot join us anyway? Gloria answers in a muffled voice. Gloria, as you wish, Sir Robert. The late Sir Gregor would only be enraged to see Mother there. We all remember how the last encounter ended. Father nods curtly, avoiding Gloria's gaze. But at that moment, your attention is drawn to a noise in the foyer. Nathan staggers through the door, stumbling over his own feet. He reeks of cheap wine and filth. Nathan Brante. I'm not, late, am I? Everyone gazes at him in consternation. Nathan almost falls into Mother's and Gloria's arms. Distressed, they fuss over him. Stefan eyes his youngest brother coldly. Stefan Brante. I expected nothing more of you, Nathan. Why even speak of duty to your family when you can't even manage to live by the commoner's lot? Go lie down in the pantry and stay out of our sight. Father, Davvon Jr., it's time. Let's go. Alongside Father and Stefan, you descend into the family crypt. You cannot help but remember paying your last respects to your grandfather 9 years ago. You light the lamps. Dim, eerie flames illuminate the shrine. In the middle of it stands a magnificent stone tomb containing the long, decayed remains of Gregor Brante. You take your places around the crypt and kneel. The all-night vigil has begun. At first, your ancestors remain silent. Each of you is left within their own thoughts. Then a low murmur passes around you. The shadows in the corners of the room deepen. The voice grows stronger. You know that the ancestors of Gregor Brante, long-forgotten commoners whom you never knew, are trying to talk to you. But now a memory of them has come to life in the darkness of the crypt. They are pleading for something, demanding it of you, calling out to you, screaming. Finally, you all hear that painfully familiar, deep, imperious voice echo from the far end of the chamber. Gregor Brante. It's been a long time since I've seen you all. I hope you bear good tidings. All this time I've been waiting for you to fulfill my mission. Remember, as long as I am in your blood, I will give you no peace. I did not have my family ennobled just to see our line cut short. Our blood tide must join the grand flow of the empire, and then each of my descendants will inherit nobility forever and ever. But I do not see any of you here before my tomb. Why are you hiding? Where is the head of our family and the man who will speak to me? Where is the man who will heed my will? Father rises from his knees and makes his way toward grandfather's stone tomb, the source of the booming voice, but Stefan suddenly pushes him out of the way. Father takes an indignant step forward, but Stefan firmly bars the way. Robert Brante. Stop it, Stefan. You are my heir, but you are not the head of this family. Stefan Brante. Father, it is not you that Sir Gregor is addressing. Earning the nobility of the sword is my duty to him. He has long forsaken any hope of seeing you achieve it. You must understand that I am the one who will fulfill that duty. Stefan does not let him pass. Father breathes heavily in anger. You can all but feel the frantic beating of both their hearts resonating somewhere within you. Both your father and brother seem to have forgotten that you are here too. Even the restless voice of your ancestors have grown hushed, waiting for the outcome of this confrontation. I did not have the option to step forward myself before. Path of the Nobleman and Blood Tide. Path of the Nobleman and Blood Tide. What will that give me? Let me check my destiny real quick. I'm sorry, guys. This is the part where a lot of stuff happens. And I can't remember what all it pays out to be. Family outcomes. Branded by dishonor. The family in ruins. Ennobled by the sword. Heir is no longer Stefan Brante. Glorious bloodline. A family of means. The family falls apart. wealth. Family of peace. Secret plot with Gloria. Unite the family. How do we unite the family again? Unite the family. 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 Where did unite the family go? Oh, I think we already did it, didn't we? I think we've already united the family. No, we haven't. No, we have not. How do I unite the family? Was that a chapter 3 thing? Nope. Okay. So I have to find a way to unite the family. I don't know how I'll go about doing that. Family of means, branded by disarmor, family of peace, family in ruins, a glorious bloodline. I do not see how this is going to benefit me in any way. So if I step forward myself, Path of the Nobleman and Blood Tide, we're going to go ahead and step forward ourselves. I want to see what happens here. Curiosity will probably make this worse, and will probably tear the family apart. While Stefan blocks your father's way, you step forward yourself. Now they are both trying to stop you, but you are already loudly addressing the spirit of Sir Gregor. Sir Davvon Jr. Brant of the Brants is the man who will speak to him. Gregor Brant. Well, look who we have here. It's Davvon Jr. himself, a recent nobleman of the mantle and a judge. I must admit, grandson, it has always been my belief that you would not be satisfied by the commoner's lot, even when I punished you for your escapades. But are you up to your old tricks again? Do you truly imagine yourself to be the head of this family? What about my spineless son and his rightful heir Stefan? Or are you planning to take his place? You look over your shoulder. Father has covered his face with his hands, flustered. Stefan is clenching his fists angrily and whispering something under his breath. Gregor Brant. Since you've been so bold as to speak to me, you will hear my will, Davvon Jr. Dead though I may be, my will still lives, and you all are embodiment of it in the realm of the living. Earning the nobility of the sword is the great cause of anyone who bears the name of Brant. Your duty by blood is to earn us a place in eternity, just as it is my duty to look out for you, even from beyond the grave. Your father's follies have become a veritable threat, and I must help you overcome it. You still cater to those foundlings, Lydia and Gloria, risking a permanent blemish upon the Brant name, my name. You are but a step away from leading our family to shame and ruin. Your grandfather's authoritative speech is suddenly interrupted by your father. Robert Brant. No, father, that is impossible. Even if I must defy your will, I am responsible for Gloria. My honor and my conscience will not allow me to do what you demand. You must accept this or keep on fighting me for all eternity. Gregor Brant. It is not to you that I'm speaking, Robert. Davvon Jr., take the family cause into your hands. Do not take after your father. Do not shy away from taking responsibility for your actions. Do what must be done. Cleanse our family of wickedness. You do not have time to respond. Stefan's strong arm hurls you to one side. But when your elder brother addresses grandfather instead of you, he is shaking. Davvon Brant. Sir Gregor, Davvon Jr. must be out of his mind. I am the heir here. I am ready to heed your will. Gregor Brant. You have heard it, Stefan, and do not let anyone usurp your rightful place again. Otherwise, you will lose your very birthright. Stefan answers his ancestor in a strained voice. Stefan Brant. I will do my duty to my family, Sir Gregor. Whatever the price, I will pay it. The crypt is completely silent once more. The spirit of Sir Gregor Brant has left. You are alone again. You see tears glistening on Stefan's face. Without a sound, he detaches himself from you and leaves the crypt. Your father casts a disdainful glance at you and follows him up the stairs. You are left in the semi-darkness alone with the invisible spirits of the dead that follow you, your family everywhere, even from oblivion. Whatever the will of your deceased grandfather may be, you have proven before your ancestors that you have the right to hear it on behalf of the Brant family. The vigil is over. So Stefan's pissed. Robert's pissed. Gregor Brant +2. Why do I care about that? Valor plus. We got a +3 in Valor. Let's go. Yo, low key wins 1,140. Peacetime, 22 years of age. Uh-oh. Year 1,140. Egmont's speech. Just a few days into the year, Mayor Egmont, chairman of the Lesser Quorum and owner of several silver mines, made a speech that caused quite a stir in the province. Though a commoner, Egmont had the gall to demand that the Magran authorities both enforce and obey imperial law. Mayor Egmont. What's the use of the imperial laws if they aren't enforced as they should be? Even today, any Anazotan nobleman who gets up on the wrong side of the bed can draw his sword and run a commoner through with impunity. These gentlemen may be our rulers, but does that not mean that they can defy the Emperor's will? Sir Elborn has been appointed to enforce the rule of law in Magra. How come the prefect doesn't see this? We commoners aren't trying to seize the noble lot and take over the province, but the rule of tradition is a thing of the past. This is the age of justice. We may not all be equal in its eyes, but even the nobles and clergy must obey the law. The Magran aristocracy is furious with Egmont and demands that he be silenced. But the rich industrialist has too much money and too many connections to be dealt with so easily. You hear more and more rumors about the secret societies of commoners appearing in the city, plotting against the noble rule. The gentry fears that Egmont and his peers might be behind this, but they have no proof, at least for now. Father Leonard, abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree and leader of the New Believers, support Egmont and has spoken publicly in his favor. Father Leonard. The twins themselves entrusted the noble estate with the right to rule over the common folk, but rulers must also care for their subjects. The old faith is mistaken. No commoner should ever be forced to suffer. It is for this very reason that the imperial law exists. It is there to ease the people's suffering. May those laws be duly enforced, and may they serve all the people of the empire. Struggle for power +1, order -1, wealth of Magra -1. So we're all just kind of like in the middle ground right now. There's some order going on, a little discontent going on. Nothing huge in the grand scheme. The vassal and the lord. It is another day at the prefecture. A secretary peeks into your office with a message from the prefect. There is a new case he wishes you to handle. You put away your quill and walk to Sir Elburn's office. To your surprise, he happens to have another visitor already. There is a graceful figure sitting across from him, your immediate superior, none other than Octavia Melanides. After all the times you have met her in the capital, you expected the Archduke's daughter to be brilliantly, lavishly dressed. But her appearance today is modest and formal, with a high-necked dress and a strict bun. However, her demure attire only serves to emphasize her role as a distinguished visitor to the prefecture. You bow to the prefect and the noble Archean lady. Octavia offers you a curt greeting, then returns to the conversation you have interrupted. Octavia Melanides. This matter can brook no delay, Baron Elborn. The young judge must well wait outside. Nonetheless, Sir Elborn insists that you come in and take a seat. Augustine Elborn. Worry not, Brent. You aren't interrupting at all. Lady Melanides, I was scheduled to meet with Sir Brante at this very hour. I regret to inform you that your visit was perhaps somewhat unfortunately timed. Octavia rises from the soft, high-backed chair. The young Archean lady now stands tall, elegant, and indignant. Octavia Melanides. You are out of line, Sir Elborn. Archduke Melanides has graced you with a representative from his dynasty, and you will listen to what I have to say this instant. The Archduke has expressed concern over the manner of governance at the prefecture. You have always been headstrong and eager to infringe upon the freedoms of your known noble estate. But now it appears you find it acceptable to conduct proceedings against our loyal subjects. Our dynasty has already seen many loyal nobles of the sword arrested or faced with punishment in court. Where will this lead? Do you mean to enforce your lowly laws against us Archeans? Do not forget that those laws were written to keep low-born humans in check. Our lives have always been governed by noble law, honor, and tradition, as well as the blood tide that is our heritage. Our only justice is the court of honor. The only rule above us is that our sovereign is the emperor and the twins. Our only duty is to our kin and our forefathers. Our ancestor Melanides himself granted the boon of nobility to you humans. It would be most unwise to make me regret this decision of old. In the name of Archduke Melanides, I demand that you end any and all proceedings against our subjects at once. Sir Elborn acknowledges Lady Octavia's vehement speech with a calm smile and nothing else. He shows no trepidation, no tremor, nor fear, even though the lady across from him represents one of the Empire's mightiest dynasties. Augustine Elborn. Lady Melanides, the twins have graced the blessed Archean lineage with a boon of long life, yet the world can be quick to change at times. The laws of the Empire now govern the nobles of the mantle and even the nobles of the sword, along with the common estate. This particular change is not as recent as it might seem. The law of the Empire are the decrees of the Emperor himself, the twins' chosen supreme sovereign. His laws are his will, which is, as you said yourself, the only rule above us. And that means all of us, from a highborn Archean to the lowliest commoner. Presently, the Emperor's representative in our province is Overseer Gaius Tempest. Like this prefecture in its entirety, I am simply obeying the Overseer's will and the laws of the Empire. Octavia Melandidus. Pray tell me, Baron Elborn, who is your own sovereign and protector? He is none other than my father, Archduke Melandidus. You swore him an oath of fealty and vassalage. It is your duty to follow his word and will. Or do you wish for the Archduke himself to address you directly? I tell you, cease this harassment of our loyal noble subjects at once. I will not leave until this order is carried out. Augustine Elborn. Why, Lady Melandidus, I'm afraid this is quite impossible. As a servant of the Empire and Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest, it is my duty to enforce the law. Now, if you will excuse me, Sir Brante and I have urgent matters to discuss. The gaze of the Archduke's daughter is locked with the prefects in a silent struggle. Each expects the other to back down first. Then Octavia suddenly turns toward you. Octavia Melandidus. But I believe the young judge has more in him than blind obedience. Surely you are able to distinguish a rightful claimant from a threat to the province, are you not? Silence resounds within the prefect's office. They are both waiting for you to speak. Those damn diplomacy points are getting me again. Do we support Elborn? We're gonna side with Octavia just because I'm curious. Never mind, we're gonna support Elborn. This might be a justice point here. You engage in the argument and respectfully mention that your business with the prefect is urgent indeed. There are many issues that need to be resolved with Sir Elborn. You begin listing them one after another to prove your point. Octavia's face grows dark. She shakes her elegant head in indignation. Octavia Melandidus. What a shame, Brant, seeing you eating out of this visionless gentleman's hand. I hoped you were bold enough to have an opinion of your own. It seems my ancestor Char Melandidus was mistaken after all. Humans will never realize what it means to be noble and live in honor. And as for you, Sir Elborn, the Melandidus dynasty will continue this conversation whether you like it or not. I'm afraid our next meeting will not be as innocuous as today's. Octavia rises from her seat, elegantly yet quickly. A moment later, you hear her high heels clacking away in the corridor. Sir Elborn sighs with relief. Augustine Elborn, thank you for showing her what you're made of, Davvon Jr. I appreciate your loyalty to the cause. The prefecture and the Archduke are about to enter a full-blown war. It's a pleasure to see a reliable judge on my side. Archduke Melandidus is testing the prefecture with his daughter. Otherwise, he'd have asked me to visit his palace personally. He's showing caution, which means we will stand strong, at least for now. We will continue our service to the law without regard for the outmoded ways of the past. But I digress. This is high politics, and the prefecture still has plenty of cases to resolve. Let's get back to our work, Judge Brant. With that, Elborn hands you a new case file. You thank the Baron and head back to your office to study it properly. It's time to get back to work. Gaius Tempest, +1. Augustine Elborn, +1. Archduke Melandidus does not like me. Distaste for me. Well, screw him. Passion. Uh-oh. Oof. I don't remember what I needed. I don't remember what I needed to have Octavia. Okay. Passion. The repercussions of your most recent encounter with the Archduke's daughter, Octavia, soon manifest themselves. A letter bearing the seal of the great dynasty of Melandidus arrives the next day. Inside the envelope, you find an invitation to Castle Serpenverda, the Archduke's residence. I think I needed 13 diplomas. Visiting the Archduke of Magra himself is a great honor. To decline such an invitation would be an insult of colossal magnitude. You immediately purchase a new doublet in the latest fashion and ask father to lend you a precious family brooch. It depicts the Brant family crest, and the leaves on the oak branch are made of tiny emeralds. Octavia should find it to her liking. Your family cannot help but notice your preparations. Mother watches you nervously as you make sure everything is ready for your journey. Lydia Brant. This odd invitation has me worried, my son. Be careful in the Archduke's castle. Still of lowborn origin. Arcane attention spells danger to people like us, every time. Remember not to displease them, or the Melanidas will grind our family into dust. Come early morning, the carriage takes you away from the border walls of Anazop. It takes you to a full day to reach Serpenverda along the dusty, sun-scorched high road. While on the road, you read notes on Archean traditions and rules of etiquette again. To preserve your family's honor, you must make the best possible impression. Provincial powers that will be watching your every step, and so will Octavia with her cunning grin. Only as the sun is about to set do you manage to spot the dark, colossal shape of Castle Serpenverda, a towering fortification of jet black stone spread across a peak looming over the bed of a long-gone river. The carriage climbs the narrow, serpentine road to the castle gate. Soldiers of the Archduke's guard approach you, and you present them with the invitation. The guards eye you with suspicion, but give the signal to open the gate. You are now inside the walls of the Archduke's castle. You had expected to see many carriages of other guests beyond the gate, but the courtyard is strangely empty. The guard shows you to a servant who guides you to a room reserved for guests and leaves you there to wait. The servant soon returns and you follow him through the dimly lit quarters of Serpenverda, lavishly adorned with silver, emeralds, and weapons of war. The castle is silent. There is no noise, no music. It seems completely uninhabited. The sound of your footsteps is smothered by the soft velvet beneath your feet. The servant stops in front of a pair of massive doors made of black wood. This is your destination, he gestures silently. You enter an enormous room, its walls covered in portraits and ancestral relics. In the very center of the room is a towering throne carved of black wood. Upon the throne, you see the delicate silhouette of Octavia Melanidas, clad in black velvet dress embroidered in silver. With a commanding gesture, the Archean lady bids you to approach. Octavia Melanidas. You're here at last. Are you surprised, Davvon Jr.? How odd. You didn't think my father would actually summon you to an Archean castle, did you? Or are you truly that naive? How sweet of you. No, it was I who summoned you here. You are alone in the castle. Portraits cover the walls, portraits of Archeans with dark eyes and jet black hair. They all resemble the birds of prey, and their eyes seem to watch you with contempt that makes you uneasy. Octavia Melanidas. Allow me to introduce you to my family. Family, this is a human by the name of Brante. What do you think of them, father? She casts a defiant glance at the portrait of the Archduke Melanidas. Then she removes a glove from her hand and casts it as well. It hits the great Archduke right in the nose. Octavia laughs at that, and the tall walls and innumerable portraits echo her voice. Baffled, you ask Lady Melanidas why she has summoned you. Octavia Melanidas. Because you have caught my attention. I noticed you, even when you were somewhat younger than you are now. And I started seeing you again and again. I caught myself thinking about you quite often, and so I decided that I wished to possess you. You will become my companion. Other humans will envy you, but no one will dare to cross you. My name will open any door you like. In return, you will satisfy my every whim, and I will do with you as I please. Octavia rises from the throne, the hem of her dress lifting up to reveal her elegant, slender leg. Octavia Melanidas. You know the history of this throne, yes? My ancestor, Shar Melanidas, used to sit here during the rebellion of Magra. Can you imagine that? Shar Melanidas made decisions that transformed the entire empire, all from this very seat. And now it's gathering dust in this vainglorious art gallery, my father's. Now come to me, human. Octavia waits for you to do her bidding. One does not argue with an Archean. Since the dawn of the Empire, they have taken whatever they wanted. If you refuse Octavia, daughter to the Archduke of Magra, you will insult her greatly. If you submit to this Archean woman, if you become her plaything, everyone will know you are in the good graces of Lady Melanidas herself. As a human, what more could you possibly dream of? You recall your chance encounters with her, from the days of your youth to more recent times. What are your feelings for this exceptional Archean lady? What does she truly want from you? Are you willing to enter into perilous romance with Octavia? Perhaps you could do it on your own terms, returning her affections while keeping your honor. Would she defy all the traditions of old for you and recognize you as her equal, even if only in secret? Octavia arches her back on her father's throne and waits for you, her slender hand beckoning you closer. Oh, I did. Okay, cool. One of these. Okay, she's intrigued by me. Okay, so I can't do this option still. I want to do this one. Insist on being treated as an equal. I thought for sure I wasn't going to have enough. You give Octavia your answer, looking her straight in the eye. You have been in love with her ever since you were younger, enchanted by her beauty and grace. Every chance encounter, a treasured memory. And you know that feeling is mutual. To you, there is no greater honor than Lady Octavia's affection. But you cannot sacrifice your honor as a nobleman for the sake of this love. You do not mean this as an insult. On the contrary, Lady Melanides is far superior to you. It is true, yet you, too, are of the noble estate, and cannot accept humiliation, even if you must face the full extent of the Melanides ire. You will reciprocate Octavia's affection, not as an obedient plaything, but as a man and a noble. Your impassioned speech ends, and you steel yourself to face her wrath. But to your surprise, Octavia seems lost in thought, her eyes downcast. Octavia Melanides. Nobody denies me. I'm not used to this. You're a remarkable human indeed, Davvon Jr. Brante. I have noticed this ever since we first met. Your words echo in my heart. Do not follow the usual rules. Any other man would have been groveling at my feet by now. Perhaps you can stick by my escape from the stifling, sickening world. So be it. I choose a human as my lover, and I care little for what the aristocracy of this twins-forsaken province has to say about it. I'll take this as far as I like. But you will be safer if our affairs remain a secret to the world. Now come to me, my sweet human. You draw closer to Octavia on the throne. She reaches out for your face, caressing it gently and carefully as though touching a human for the first time. A moment passes, and suddenly her arms wrap around your neck, and her legs lock around your torso, and she pulls you closer to her with all her might. You do not hesitate the Archaean's assault. Her embrace leads you to the throne. Octavia Melanides. How do you like the seat of the great Shah Melanides? Just a piece of wood, don't you agree? Comfortable too, but luckily, it's spacious enough for the two. Octavius's ravenous lips find yours as your hands free you from your fashionable attire. Her entire body is shivering with excitement. You caress her skin, tender and azure. You commit her to memory, studying her, trying to understand her. Octavius's eyes are dark as the starless sky, sparkling with delight from your sweet transgression. But why does she seek this pleasure with you? Why would she humiliate her ancestors and her very dynasty by having an affair with a woman? A human, not a woman. Seeing you preoccupied, Octavia gently pulls your head up by the chin. She kisses you passionately, and her lips start moving down your half-naked body. Her inhuman passion swallows you and overtakes you, until the vast throne room of the Melanides dynasty echoes with the last of her ecstatic moans. Then there is silence, save for the sound of your heavy breathing. Octavia caresses your back slowly, then playfully pushes you off the throne. The Archaeans watch you from the portraits, their face as dispassionate as ever. Octavia returns to you at dawn, now wearing a modest black dress, her hair in a formal bun. Octavia Melanides. It is time for you to leave, Davvon Jr. The Archduke will return to the castle soon. I will visit Anazat now and again. Several estates there belong to me. We will meet there, safe from prying eyes. You leave the Serpentvetter with your head spinning and your heart racing. The day it takes to return to Anazat passes like a single moment. When your family asks you about your visit to Archduke, you evade the question. From that day forth, your heart aches sweetly, yearning from Octavius's letters. And when it is time for a brief tryst, the two of you disappear to one of her estates and give in to your secret passion. There are days when your love and your lover seem but an illusion, something gone forever. But soon another note arrives, and the affair continues, only to be cut short again for the unknown time. You have stolen the heart of the most beautiful and highborn Archaean lady of Magra. Only one nagging thought casts a shadow on your love. What will be the price of this insolence? We have grown close. +2, sympathy. Willpower, -5. An affair with Octavia, year 1140. You have started an affair with the daughter of the Archduke of Melanides. Easy. Flippy page. Brothers in misery. All right. We'll end the episode right there. We have followed the same path with Octavia, blow for blow as the same one. pun intended. I am going to go ahead in the video here. Like I said, my throat is finally giving out on me. I've recorded 3 videos in a row. I am excited to see how this ends. All I'm thinking to myself this entire time is I still have 4 lives in my back pocket, but those diplomacy points, where is my /hack for diplomacy points? Again, reminder, I would greatly appreciate it if anybody wants to stop by and check out the Alpha Nerd game show that happens tonight. It is very highly recommended, like not recommended, but rated among the people that watch it, my friends, those viewers that come to the channel. They seem to always catch it every week, and it's a lot of fun, especially for me as a host and the people who contend in it. Again, the link below, twitch.tv/Davvon. If you do stop in, say hello from YouTube. I will be happy to see anybody come through. Again, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope life is treating y'all well. Sincerely, I do appreciate you guys above and beyond. If you guys are enjoying the series, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It means a lot. And again, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Peace.
Wanna get some music for this?
Nope.
How long did that go?
You said 30 seconds.
How long have I been going?
10.
Am I doing it right?
I have no idea. I'm not even
Is this
watching.
30 long?
No comment.